Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. I hope you guys have been having a great week. I have been having a very, very busy one, but it has been worthwhile and loads of fun. I got some crazy cool stuff coming up. Next week, specifically on October 27th, Heavy Montreal presents Vox and Hops episode. I am with a guest that I would have never imagined to have had the chance to sit down with. It was very, very cool, and it would not have been possible without the help of a fellow Montreal metal media friend. Huge shout out to Christophe Gagné for hooking me up with this guest. Can't wait until you guys find out who that guest is coming up next week on October 27th. Along with that, I am very, very excited to announce right now that for the 2-year anniversary Vox and Hops episode, which will be dropping on October 30th, which is 1 week from today, next Friday, I have recorded an absolute gem of an episode, and I'm so stoked to tell you about it right now. I've had this idea since I started the podcast, and it finally happened. The full Cryptopsy vocalist roundtable discussion. That's right. Lord Worm, Mike DeSalvo, Martin Lacroix, and myself all in one room having a conversation. But to make it even more special, and so that I could be a bit more involved in the conversation, I reached out for the help from a Vox and Hops alumni, one of Canada's best metal media people out there, the great Bradley Zordrager of Banger TV and Exclaim was with us to help moderate the conversation. I recently just finished editing that episode, and I can tell you that it's one hell of an episode, and I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate the 2-year anniversary for Vox and Hops. Man, I can't wait for you guys to hear this. On today's episode, I am with Mattias Lindeblad and Martin Brändström, who have created a very, very cool app called Bandbond. They may just have invented the future way for bands to communicate directly with their fans. So get ready, here it is. This is Vox and Hops episode number 195.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm with Mattias Lindeblad and Martin Brändström of Bandbond, the app. Martin is, of course, from Dark Tranquillity. How are you guys doing? It is great to hang out with you. I've been looking forward to this. I have been excited about having to chat with you guys ever since I discovered Bandbond. Let's start with an easy yet complex question, which I like to ask to put people right at ease. How have you guys been coping with 2020?
Oh, yeah, that's been a rough one, I guess. For me, it started out, we were supposed to do an album anyway, so it started out as planned. The only difference was that everyone was in lockdown mode. Usually it's just us when we make an album, but we realized that our friends and family are also in lockdown. But now, of course, it's really frustrating that the whole music industry at a pause. So yeah, now we're getting the experience of the full Corona lockdown, and it's depressing and so.
Yeah, it really is. And we were about to launch, the Bandbond app. We had our public launch in the beginning of May, and it was like, when we worked on it and planned for this launch, it was like, the biggest thing ever. You wanted to reach out to the world, like, hey, this is the greatest thing. But then the Corona came, and it's like, more sorry guys, we have this little thing, we can't wait with the launch, we have to launch this now. We understand that it's not top of mind right now, but so it was a little bit of that.
At first we thought about the sensitivity on being too enthusiastic about our own product.
Absolutely, and it's weird times, but I think it's worked out fine actually. And everybody's understand it's difficult and everybody's got to go. You can't afford to wait, and everybody understands that.
And for bands right now, it's very important to stay in contact with your fans, and Bandbond is a perfect place to do that. So I think the timing of it is actually, it's pertinent.
Yeah, that might be the case. People are turning to the internet to keep the relationship alive, and I hope we can fill a spot there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's Vox and Hops is a I hang out with my metal friends and talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. So what are you guys sipping on over there?
We explored the studio to see what was left here since our last session. And we found this Pistonhead Haze Lagers. It's an unfiltered lager.
Yeah.
Very
I'm sure
nice.
you remember.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a metal expression on it and the logo and stuff with the
Very
skull.
cool. A
Yeah, yeah.
hazy lager. See that's avant-garde right there. That hasn't made its way over to North America as of yet that I've seen. I haven't seen one of those. That's very interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's a lager with a little bit of IPA touch sort of.
Awesome.
It's
Very cool.
from Brutal Brewing, I read here.
Yeah,
So it's a Swedish brewery.
yeah. That
Very
also
cool.
sounds kind
And
of
metal.
metal. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds metal. I love it. On my side, I'm going with the Polotmavy. It is a classic Czech style Pilsner, inspired Pilsner, because you can't do that unless you are in Czech, of course. This is from Ma Brasserie. I'm going to crack this open. Tell me about the Swedish craft beer scene. I know that it's so bopping. What do you guys know about that?
But you guys have a couple of beers, right?
Yeah, we done some guest brewing. Our singer Michael is really into brewing. He has his own home brewery. You always get to try out his latest batches when you're at his house. And he took some of his best recipes, and we made some Dark Tranquillity beers. There's a lot of small craft breweries here in Sweden.
We have friends in former In Flames members, Peter and Daniel, who have a brewery called Odd Island.
And that's one of the best, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe we're biased, but I think what they come up with is always great stuff.
That's very cool. See, I did not know that, and I should know that because I am supposed to be the craft beer and metal expert.
Yeah, that's why you have this, so you can expand on your.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have future guests in my mind right there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's dance in a different direction, and let's talk about you guys growing up. A classic Vox and Hops question at this point is, what would have been the soundtrack of your youth? When you were growing up in your parents' or guardian's house, what music was playing when you guys were not in control of the radio? What music did your parents or guardians listen to?
Well, we were in control, or our guardians.
Your parents.
Okay.
My parents, it was ABBA, I think.
Yes, see, you can't go wrong with that.
No. And some Beatles, of course, but when I discovered music myself, it was Kiss. The first time I saw a Kiss album, I knew it was the best band in the world without even having heard a note. So I just loved them. Yeah, and the first record I bought, it was the Unmasked album, with a comic book cover, and it contained a poster as well. And I was like, it's like, 3 wishes in one. It's got music, it's got a comic, and it's got a poster. How can you not love this?
I love this music thing.
Yeah.
With everything. No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in my home it was the Beatles, and I think Elvis Presley was a lot there. Some Swedish music as well, but it's not as prominent. Well, actually, the guy, you heard the band Roxette, probably.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Well, the guy in that band, he had a Swedish band at first that was popular here. It's kind of a cheesy band. It's not very high cred factor to those, but that was what's going on.
But they sell out stadiums.
Yeah, they
yeah, in Sweden,
yeah.
They're huge.
Yeah, so that was going on in my home, and I guess the first album I discovered was Kiss as well, Kiss Alive 2. Also a lot of pictures to look at, blood and fire and axe bases, and yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, we actually knew each other when we were really, really small. I think I was, how old were you when we met? You were like 5 or
5, I think.
Yeah.
So we go way back.
Yeah, and I was 8, and I was friends with Martin's older brother, So Martin wanted to tag along, when we're going to play. So it was like, you have to bring your brother.
That's really, really cool. Very interesting. Take me to your first show that you ever went to that you experienced. Not you playing, but you witnessing as a fan.
Well, the first show that really had a big impact on me was, I was 18, I think. Well, I've seen a lot of shows before, but the one that really was, well, this is my music taste, and this is something that opens the world to me. Then I had started to listen to a lot of synth music, so that was Depeche Mode on the Songs of Faith and Devotion tour. And it was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and my life felt so much larger afterwards. So that opened a lot of doors for me.
Yeah, and my first concert, I was I think 14. First concert, buying the ticket yourself, going without the parents. It was the band Marillion.
Yeah.
Yeah, British prog band. Really, really loved them and still do. And me and actually Anders, who plays bass in Dark Tranquillity now.
Oh.
Yeah, we were in the same. We studied together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was going to go to the show together with me as well. And there was a third guy with us also, and we were sitting talking about the show, and it's going to be so exciting on Saturday, And our teacher shows up, a lady there, and says, "What are you guys talking about? If you're going to talk in the classroom, you've got to tell everybody." and then he was like, "We're going to a show, a Marillion show on Saturday," and he says the unforgettable, unbelievable, "Do you want to come?" And he says, "Yes." So my first show ever, I'm there with my teacher. It's like, what happened? I got away from my mom, but I got stuck with my teacher.
That's awesome. What is it about the Swedish metal scene, music scene? It is somewhat similar to the Montreal music scene, whereas all of these members are in everyone else's bands, and they flop around, and they end up working together and collaborating together. Why does that happen so much in Sweden as much as it happens here in Montreal?
I think when it started out, it was such a small community. It wasn't a lot of people involved, and I mean, some people call what we're doing for the Gothenburg sound, and that makes sense because we're from Gothenburg. But actually, the area where the people were from was so much smaller. It was just a part of Gothenburg, a suburb outside of Gothenburg. So everyone knew each other, and everyone kind of had the same love for the music and the will to make it a task for their life, that they really wanted to commit to it.
Yeah, and also the driving force was to have a scene, because you had these fanzines and these cassettes that you sent all over the world. You heard about different scenes. We want to have a scene too. So when somebody started a band, it was like, hey, great, another band to our scene, sort of. So we really hung out and went to parties together, and I think everybody was so supportive. When you had a new demo, you were never nervous about someone, putting it down or anything. It was like celebrated each other. Yeah. So that was the music that night, just play that demo over and over, and drink beer and stage dive from the couch and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Here in Montreal, it was a little bit like that, but from what I've heard, I'm younger than the rest of Cryptopsy, obviously. And from what I heard back in the day, between Cataclysm, Cryptopsy, Gorguts, there was like a healthy sense of competition where everyone was trying to outdo themselves. Is that something that happened in the Gothenburg scene as well?
I wouldn't say so.
But I guess you always want to impress your peers, or take it to a different direction.
Yeah, and do do your own thing. You don't want to sound like the other guys and stuff. And perhaps there was a little bit of competition because you wanted to do better, but not in a hostile, outspoken way or anything.
Pretty relaxed.
Yeah, very relaxed. Yeah. We only had each other. We couldn't be in each other's.
You don't want to alienate the other 40 guys in the scene.
No. Want to be part of the scene. So.
I'm sure there were people that did that and they didn't get very far.
yeah, for sure.
What about your first times on stage? Do you remember that moment when you looked out at the crowd, and there was a crowd, because sometimes there isn't, and you were like, wow, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah, well, for me, the first time I played with Dark Tranquillity, I mean, I've done small recitals, as really, really small shows before that, but I joined the band when they had a following, so so the audience was bigger than I had ever seen before, and I remember the feeling going to the first show. It was like a warm-up show we did here in Gothenburg to try out the new lineup, and I remember thinking about the feeling I had in my stomach was that if I was going to go to a fist fight. I was really nervous, and I really felt like the audience is like someone to overcome, and it was just a lot of pressure, and I felt that pressure for a long time. But then when you overcome it, then you can enjoy that. Hey, we're actually reaching out with our music. There's a lot of people there, but the stage fright in the beginning was brutal for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in a death metal band back in the days, when everything started, called Brain Dead. But after a while, we thought that we wanted to go in our own direction and practically, switch the style of music. So we started playing our own sort of AC/DC rock, with our own songs and stuff like that. And things started to go pretty well. We got to play at biker clubs and stuff like that. And the death metal bands, they played at smaller venues, But then something happened quite quickly. Everything took off, and our band was like, oh, okay, we didn't get that gig on that bikers club, okay. But they're out in Europe now. What the fuck happened? so I had to turn to journalism instead, So I'm one of those, failing musicians turn to journalism.
Life choices, we walk the path that we choose, and sometimes it's for the best. Circumstance is always great. Let's dance into Bandbond. Tell me all about this. Let everyone know what this is. I know what it's all about, but I want you guys to pitch it so that everyone really understands it.
Yeah, it started with Martin's frustration from his day job. So
yeah, but we've been around for such a long time, so we've seen a lot of technological shifts. We used to kind of own the conversation before on our forums and our web pages.
Yeah, with your fans.
With our fans, we always knew where to reach them, and if we had some news for them. And everything turned to Facebook, which felt natural. Why not have the conversation there? It seems like a great network. But it was, probably 7 or 8 years ago when I was in charge of our social media feeds. I was going to promote a tour, and that was the first time I realized how big the limit of our reach had become. How much the algorithms was blocking our reach to our fans. And you always have this market button because they want you to boost your post. And I put in some money to see how much the audience would increase with the money I put in. And at the end, to reach our whole audience was a ridiculous amount. It was something like $10,000, and we don't have anything to market where we could recoup that cost.
No, for one post.
No, for one post.
Yeah.
And also, marketing is not what we are into. It's the relationship building. We want to be in communication with our fans constantly. And I think if that algorithm is blocking the day-to-day communication, and when we share our lives, our work with touring or creating albums, that's something that we want to invite people to be able to share. But if it's always this algorithm choosing who we can communicate with, that was kind of frustrating. So we started to dismantle the idea just in our heads to see, okay, we don't like this marketing tool and this how it's blocked. So we started to fantasize on what it could be instead, and how this relationship could be better. And that's when we came up with Bandbond, and we wanted to level the playing field and just take away all the gatekeepers, so we just could have this celebrate this relationship together.
Yeah. So for starters, in Bandbond now, any band who wants to join Bandbond, you can see their social media feeds from Facebook, from Instagram, from Twitter. But if you choose to follow them in the Bandbond app, you see 100% of the posts, including the band members, which often makes the most entertaining posts. And then we have every band has a profile with the links of their choosing. They can have, if they want to, the fans have easy access to stuff. And then we have something that will hopefully soon be needed, a tour calendar. Yeah, perhaps. And then also we have our own features. We make a lot of interviews and stuff. And but this is just the beginning. Yeah. So we want to listen, to the bands, of course, but also to other people in the industry, like festivals and labels and stuff. And what do you need to make this work better for you? So we're going to do a lot of changes this fall.
Yeah. It's an ongoing work all the time.
Yeah.
It's a big task to kind of create this new platform at the same time, and to inform everyone that it exists, the bands, the fans, and they kind of need to sit down at the table at the same time for it to be fun. So it's a lot we need to have in place. We realize that it's not the perfect platform yet, but it's definitely shows anyone the direction we want to go. And now it's time to improve on it and see if we take away all the generic functionalities of normal social media, I think what's exciting for us is how deep can we go in this functionality when we know it's going to be all about metal, when we know that an event is going to be about a concert or a live stream. What functionalities will we build to make that the perfect experience?
Yeah, our event's not going to be, you know, about a children's party or a political rally or anything, you know, like
it's always going to be about music.
Yeah, it's going to be about music. How deep can we go, you know, in every functionality?
So that's where we are right now, to improve on the experience for the fans, because we have a lot of bands on board, and you get all their posts, but we have to make it the perfect home for the fans as well. And that's the point we're at right now.
Yeah, so fans are going to be able to follow fans, and you're going to be able to, you know, for if somebody tags a photo with a band and you follow that band, it's going to show in your feed as well, you know. So hopefully it's going to be a really nice and entertaining and deep, you know, loving metal community, you know, celebrating the scene.
And see what happens when we can stand on our own feet again when communicating. It's going to be exciting to follow, for sure, for us at least.
It is very difficult as a band to reach your fans. The algorithm has made it nearly impossible to, which is just ridiculous, because they like the band. They want to know what's going on in the band. It's ridiculous. You don't know that a band's coming on tour or anything like that. So that's very interesting. I think I've been playing with the app for the past week, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I thought it was very cool automatically that all of the members' socials are all up there too. It's you can really get deeper into following and understanding where this band is coming from when you get to see all the members posts. That's something that nobody does. I haven't seen that on any other social platform. What would happen hypothetically, this is me just being curious, if a member changes and gets kicked out? How up to date are you guys up on that?
I think we're going to need the help of bands too.
But what we have, you know, our tentacles out there, but we're going to need the help. It's impossible otherwise. But
at this moment.
Yeah.
But I want to return to those member feeds, because, like you say, sometimes you don't realize that what's most representative of a band's journey is perhaps the bassist feed. He's the one who's going to describe what it's like to be in a band much better than the official channel, because the official channel is going to be, hey, we have this video out, or this tour is out, but what does it feel like to be on that tour or create that album? That's the members who's going to tell you that story.
Yeah, so they often bring the color, you know, to the band's history, sort of.
You're absolutely right, and a lot of the times, like let's say for Cryptopsy, when we have to portray our, you know, image and concept and who we are, our brand as Cryptopsy via social media, it has to be serious, it has to be a little bit dark, whereas us, the members, we don't have to portray that all the time. We can be ourselves, and we can be silly, and we can post stupid pictures and stupid memes. And it's interesting for the band's fans to see the artist as humans, as opposed to just, you know, untouchable objects, which is something that I've been trying to do with Vox&Hops, always bringing down that persona and just talking to the human and showcasing that human to the world.
Yeah,
because we're all just part of the scene. Even if you're a musician or you're a fan, you're just one person part of the scene. But I think for your band, or that the image is also central. You don't want to make fun of that, because that's what made us come here in the first place.
Yeah, you must keep the the Cryptopsy flag magical. You know, that's important. You know, but you can be silly on your own as your own little Cryptopsy entity.
I like that.
Yeah.
And it is only for metal bands, though, at the time being, or is it something that's going to evolve into something else?
We think of it as, you know, the broadest summer metal festival. It can be everything from, you know, once back in the 80s, Bon Jovi was on Headbangers Ball. They were considered a hard rock band. So everything from AOR, Bon Jovi to, you know, the darkest black metal you can think of.
And that's the only thing we consider right now, how to make this perfect for the metal community. Who knows, if this spawns out to be the perfect creation for following music, it might be suitable for other genres as well. And who knows? But that's not on our minds right now. We just want to make this perfect from where we are living.
Yeah, exactly. It's our world, and it's also, I think, the perfect proving ground if this works or not, because the metal scene is so sensitive to genuity. What's it called? Genuine.
Genuinity.
Genuinity.
Is that a word for in English?
It has to feel genuine.
Genuine, yes.
Yeah,
Genuine.
it has to feel genuine.
Yeah.
And if
Absolutely.
it doesn't, it won't work. Some rich corporation can't just walk in there and say, "Hey, metal fans, get on this new platform. It's going to be great," because they don't have the tonality.
I'm not sure this would be even possible in a different genre, because whenever we speak to a band or everyone in this scene is so used to kind of doing stuff together and finding our way together. And even you speak to a big record label, they're gonna sense that if we do this together, it can be good. We can wait a bit and see on the commercial side what's going to happen. It's not. The first thing is that everything here feels genuine.
Yeah, and we've talked to a lot of labels, and we're so grateful. We got meetings with all the big ones, around Europe and even to the US, knocking doors, but they got it, what we talked about, and it was kind of goosebumps moments.
Yeah, so helpful, and the bands has been so helpful and coming with input on what they would like to see in the app, and yeah, we're really grateful for the reception we had so far in when we tried to explain this place even before we built it.
That's very interesting, and it's still in its baby phases because you guys launched in May. So there's just so much more that's going to keep coming, and I'm seeing a lot of my friends are already doing stuff on it, which makes me excited about it. So I'm definitely going to keep going and playing with it and talking to people about it. I think it's very interesting. It is free for the bands, free for the fans. So how are you guys doing this?
But right now we want to keep it also ad free. So right now we're just seeing if this could be a cool place, and at one point you have to, if it's going to become a business, and it needs to be a business for this to carry on, because we have some investors that makes it possible for us to do this service, but at the end they're going to need to see some kind of return. But we think that if we make an honest playing field, that there will present opportunities with a business model that makes sense and doesn't capitalize on the users. Like if it's on Facebook, we know that there's so much of your privacy that you give away for them to have a business model. I think it would be more fair to have really open on what the business is or what you're purchasing if you do a purchase, and what's free is going to be free.
So what's free now and more stuff as well. It's always going to be free.
That's going to stay free. But I think if we create this platform and it becomes good, I think that will open up other business opportunities on top of it with added services.
So like premium content where you would have to subscribe for extra stuff, hypothetically.
Yeah. But we haven't thought about that much because we have to make this work first. In the beginning we talked a little bit about let's start thinking about that part, but put energy on that now, and we just have to prove that it's a good platform. That would be useless if we started to do that. So let's just make this work first, and we'll take it from there. But we'll always, have the band's best interest at heart. That's our main thing, actually. Yeah.
Hypothetically, this takes off. I hope it does. I think it's a great thing. And Facebook comes knocking on your doors. Is that a yes or a no? A conversation that you're willing to have? Giving it up to the enemy?
You mean okay? I thought they were going to knock to kill us.
No. They like what you're doing. They want to acquire you.
I don't view them as a suitable host for this relationship anymore. They had a chance for so many years to do something useful about it. They have something now that they're going to do something called premium music video. That's going to be something more similar to what YouTube is. But the business model is still that they're going to sell ads to the users. They're going to collect that data on the users. And as a band, I will not have any control for what companies is going to use our videos to advertise towards our fans. And I don't think that's a good situation. And so I'm not. If we if someone knocked on the door and wanted to take Bandbond further, it had to be someone that understands what we're doing and understands the sensitivity of the scenes and could build on it and make it better. I mean, it's a very dystopian thought to sell it back to the enemies if we claim it from them.
It would be horrible if we couldn't do that.
No,
absolutely not.
Let's dance back into Dark Tranquillity, if you don't mind, for a little bit, Martin. You guys have a new record coming out November 20th called Moment. Tell me about that. Tell me about releasing a record during a pandemic. How do you feel about that?
Like I said earlier, just record it was different because we were all in lockdown. And usually when recording an album, we have something planned already. We had a US tour plan, but we knew that was not going to happen. But when recording an album, you can kind of picture yourself that we're going to go out and play this record, and we're going to meet the fans, and we're going to see the reactions, and we're going to go out and communicating again. But now we don't know what the future is, so we kind of making this record into a void. And we don't know when we're going to be able to go out and continue with our day-to-day normal duties, which are duties. What word?
Duty of playing metal, huh?
Such a hard life. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe at that. Maybe not. But the day-to-day business, is that better?
That's good. Yeah.
Mission.
Day-to-day passion.
Passion.
Yeah.
No, but eventually we can go back and I mean, for the next year we have shows planned, but who knows if we're going to be able to make them. But that's the fate of the whole industry. I think we're all in a holding pattern, which is really frustrating. Yeah, we still didn't want to wait with the album. We want to release it as if there was no pandemic. Even if we did release it, we can only be in one territory at first anyway. So we want to get it out there once our thoughts are fresh, and see when we can go out on our business mission again.
Yeah. No passion there.
Some bands are out there touring right now. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, they are. I mean,
some more.
I've seen some small tours in Germany, I guess, but I think that the audience are a lot restricted, I guess. Or
from what I've heard, they're seated. They have to wear masks.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that they behave when they go to the bar, though.
No, but I like the idea that the world is the metal world is opening up somewhere, and I hope it's going to be everywhere soon. If they can do it now, great. And I would love to go to a concert right now, even if it meant that I had to wear a mask and that we will only be 200 people or less. I would love to do it. So I mean, that's great news to hear that people are out touring, and because we cannot stay at home forever. It's so frustrating.
Absolutely.
Are you guys doing any tours yet, or did you do any shows yet?
No, we have not played any shows. Montreal specifically right now is not doing well with COVID, so there is nothing happening here in Montreal.
Okay.
Some small live streams. A few very, very small shows are happening, but it's not a show that I would ever want to play.
No.
But still, if you knew, I think I would even do a small show if you knew that this was the only way to do it, and if it's, yeah, maybe I think if it's just doable, because touring is so much cost to go to the different places, so it's hard to get the economy to tour with too few people in the audience. Mm-hmm. But if it was just a feeling to play in front of people, even if we were 50 or 100, I think people will be super excited to be there. We will be excited to do the show.
Absolutely.
It's going to be looking like the old way soon, I hope, anyway.
Yeah, but it got people thinking, I don't know if you've heard of the European Metal Festival Alliance.
I have, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. 13 metal festivals I had to cancel this summer and put together this
awesome live stream.
Online festival. Yeah. For 3 days, all working together.
That was cool.
Yeah, I think it's something positive there, festivals working together and, bands supporting each other and something beautiful there.
Yeah, I hope we don't lose any festivals
Yeah,
over
and
this.
I hope we don't lose any venues. I mean,
Same, yeah.
yeah. It'd be horrible to do a tour and realize that all the venues that you used to play are now Gaps and H&M or whatever.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that would very bothersome. So it'll be very cool when shows do start happening again, because on Bandbond there's that whole tour page where any band that you follow, you can go and just check out, and all of their tour dates are there, and that's going to be happening soon. Hopefully, it's something that I would like to see happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One last question: what are your hangover cures?
Well, the responsible thing to say would be some sleep and some maybe Gatorade. Salt and sugar is good. Liquids, that's good.
Yeah. I would say crisps and dip and some Coca-Cola, and movies, 80s movies in the sofa.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
Awesome. Martin, Mattias, thank you so much for taking some time, having a chat with me. Everyone, please go check out Bandbond. It is the most unique way for fans and bands to stay in contact with each other, and these guys have just come up with a great way to do that. So go check it out, download it, play with it, follow the bands you like, and tell your friends about it, because it's super fucking cool. And everyone, go check out that new Dark Tranquillity record, Moment, coming out on November 20th via Century Media Records.
Right.
Correct.
It's been great, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you so much for having us.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Cheers.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. What a great chat with Mattias. Excellent chat with Martin, who is, of course, from Dark Tranquillity. You absolutely should go and check out that record, which will be dropping on November 20th via Century Media Records. I'm super stoked about it, and you should be too. Go and sign up to Bandbond. Be one of the early adopters. Help them build this app so that it is perfect for bands to stay in contact with their fans. They are super open and eager to have our feedback. So let's be those first people to use this app so that we are the ones in control and not the algorithm. Today is your last chance to pre-order the Vox&Hops and Overhop Canada Collaborative Brew T-shirt and brew package via the Overhop Canada website. I've put the link for that in the description of this podcast, just to remind you that we are going to be brewing a double dry hop New England IPA called Vox and Overhops. I'm so stoked about it. This also coincides with the Vox&Hops 2-year anniversary. It is my 2-year anniversary brew, and I'm very excited about that. If you enjoyed this Vox&Hops episode, you should most definitely go and subscribe via the podcast platform of your choice, because I have over 190 episodes for you to go back and enjoy. Vox&Hops is brought to you by Sound Talent Media. I'll be back next week with those 2 gigantic episodes that I spoke about during the intro. But until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.